Welcome to Secular Soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else Amy and Amy want to talk about, because this is their show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity.
You want to hear a secret?
I won't tell anybody. Go ahead. If I sit next to you, I'm going to get gonorrhea. It's going to jump into me. Just two ladies hanging out.
Is it okay for me to make fun of his neck waddle if I make fun of my own neck waddle?
I'm not sure.
That's a real ethical conundrum.
Would you know if you were born a lizard person, or can you be like adopted into the...
I think you know.
We're such professionals.
We really are.
Buckle up, bitches. It's time to have some soup.
I'm Amy with a Y.
And I'm Amy with an I.
And we're just two blueberries floating in a big bowl of tomato soup. And we have an extra special blueberry in the bowl today, who is definitely not a cat. We just need to bring that up.
Allegedly.
Allegedly not a cat, is an actual person. But I was going to say, please give a hand for her, but we're recording in our homes. We're not clapping. Mr. Noah Lugeons, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And I appreciate you explaining in advance that I'm not a cat, so I don't have to jump. Because it just sounds like bullshit when you have to say it yourself.
I just want to make sure people know that, you know?
Yeah.
But you did bring up the allegedly part, so Amy's really selling you out there. Because when you say allegedly, then...
You can't be 100% conclusive on anything. Yeah. That's just...
I have an alleged cat clawing at me right now, so... God damn it. Shoo, move, please.
It's the third guest of the show, or the third host of the show.
Yeah, she's the diva of the show. So Noah, you are here because you have written a new book, and we would like to hear about it. And just I'm going under the pretense that everybody listening to this knows who you are, because all of the people who listen to our show love you and love all your shows and know who you are. So just tell us.
I love them back.
Yes. So tell us about your new book. What's it called? How long have you been writing it? Like, what's the deal with it? Sell us on your book.
Yeah, you bet. So it's got a bit of a behemoth title, I will admit. It's called Outbreak, A Crisis of Faith, How Religion Ruined Our Global Pandemic.
That is long.
Yeah, it's like it's got a subtitle for it, which is a little awkward. I'll give you that. But you really do have to sell with the title, and you have to differentiate. And this is also a book that was written. It was myself and my partners that sort of wrote this together, or at least we outlined it together, and we worked together on it along the way. And so the title, it incorporates some ideas from everybody. Mostly it's my partner Heath Enright's title. He came up with that, the whole How Religion Ruined Our Global Pandemic, which I thought was a really good way of saying that, like, hey, we're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We're making a very serious point, but we're going to try to keep it lighthearted for the purposes of making the book readable, because let's face it, this is a pretty grim topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Ultimately why it is that more people are dead in our nation. But we also wanted it to say right away that we're talking about COVID. We're not just talking about the problems that religion creates. And because the whole idea of religion as a mind virus, or as a virus of the mind, has been so thoroughly explored by atheist authors in the past, it's hard to say religion and virus without just invoking that imagery.
Yeah.
Very true.
Amy, you were going to ask about...
I did have a question.
I was going to say, you had a question related to this. What was it? Oh my God, we're so professional. This is...
No. So what I was going to ask is, due to the way the pandemic was handled, do you think that it has potentially caused people to lose faith? Or do you think it's gone the other way and people have doubled down?
Well, okay, so I think Christians always... are like any series of events unfolding will make them stronger in their faith, right? Because that's the whole idea. Yeah, and we don't have to guess at this. No. Pew actually did a survey. I think we reported on the Scathing Atheist a couple of weeks ago, where they surveyed people and asked them, has the pandemic made you more or less? Or has it made you stronger in your faith or weaker in your faith? Has it made you question your faith more? And of course, no surprise, more and more people said that their faith was strengthened. Almost nobody said that their faith was weakened, which is insane, right? Because this is like
insane.
proof that there is no, it's not proof that there's no God, but it's a proof that there's not their God. This idea that he's just, indiscriminately killing people off by the millions. It's just this omnibenevolent character is impossible to reconcile with the circumstances around us, right? But no, lo and behold, and they did this I think in 14 countries, and in every single country, it was like more people saying that their faith was strengthened. Now, some countries, they asked in some fairly secular countries, and the numbers weren't anywhere near as high as they were in the U.S., anywhere else in the world. But
it's so depressing.
That's what I was afraid of, because that's what I've noticed in my little world. It's just people are doubling down. I was just hoping that maybe nationally people were more rational than in Texas. But
well, that's absolutely true, right?
I mean, they keep electing Ted Cruz on purpose.
Oh my God.
On purpose. Happily.
Well, so I live in Georgia, and normally we can't say shit about it, but right now, we can talk shit about Texas.
Yeah.
You guys are blue state. You guys are blue now. We're light purple. Very light purple.
Yeah, you're barely lavender.
And not my county.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a pretty red purple down there. But you're on the verge. I think you're on the verge. Just the same way that Georgia was 2 years ago. When we almost got Stacey Abrams, even after all of the vote-fixing bullshit that the current governor did when he was in charge of his own election.
It's nonsense.
Yeah. So that kind of leads into something I was actually wondering about it. Do you think America is getting better or worse in terms of progress with progressive politics and atheism and religion? And do you think that overall things are moving in a good direction for rationality, or do you think we're going backwards?
So I'd love to be able to give you a really succinct answer, but I think in a sense you've asked two different questions, whether you meant to or not. So I feel like as a culture, we are headed in the right direction. Right. Mm-hmm. People are less and less religious in our country. People are more and more progressive. People, even kind of the demographics that we kind of roll our eyes at, even the boomers at this point, by and large, and even the Christian boomers at this point, by and large, will say that they're, more open to LGBTQ rights than they were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We're headed in the right direction as a culture. Mm-hmm. That being said, religion is more entrenched in our politics right now. They're consolidating power at a rate that they haven't at any other point in, I think, American history. I'm not I'm no historian, so I don't know that I might be overstating the case, but they're entrenching themselves in power in a way that they haven't, certainly in any of our lifetimes.
Yeah, not since like Goody Baldwin or something.
Okay.
And the puritanical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy's a fan of witches because she is one, so she follows witch trials. And anyway,
oh, interesting. Okay,
ignore her. Yeah,
well, but yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is, I feel like we're in this sort of dangerous death rattle situation where religion, their power has been assumed for so long. As my friend and the guy who wrote the preface to my book, Andrew Torres, is fond of pointing out, if I tried to give alcohol to a 15-year-old girl on a Sunday morning, I'd probably get in trouble, right? But if I was a Catholic priest, it would be just fine, and no one would ever think to even have to write a law saying that was okay.
Yeah,
right.
So
because they're the moral exception.
Right. So it's just assumed that they're going to have this privilege. And what they're seeing now is that because of the rise of the nuns and because of the political activity of secular people, of humanists and atheists, or of atheists and people who don't quite have the courage to wear that label. I got to stir a little bit of shit,
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
fine.
I get all kind of emails and shit. I got to get you some too,
Oh,
it's fine. Just ask for dick pics too. We love them.
Amy loves the dick pics. Everybody's got to
Send them on. Send them on.
with an eye.
We just make a collection and then ship them away.
Yeah,
Share the bounty.
That's Amy's department. We have this partnership, and she's the one that has to do all of that stuff. So
It's fine. I'm kidding.
because I'm the grown up in the room. So
I am the professional here. I'm smacking around my own pop filter, so apologies for any noises that I just made.
No worries. I was
and now it sounds like I was getting excited about the dick pics, obviously.
I know. No, it's okay. I will include you in the chainmail.
Okay, all right. Well, all right.
Make it a blind copy, though.
I'll send it to Andrew, too. It's fine. Everybody can get one.
Okay, great.
Gets one.
Great. So, sorry, to circle back to my point, though, so in a very roundabout way, the point being, though, is that religion is starting to see a threat to their power. And so they're trying to grab and consolidate everything they can as quick as they can. And if that means aligning themselves with, the least ethical person to ever sit in the Oval Office, they're not above doing that.
Oh, no, they gladly do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's anytime there's a shift in balance in any dynamic, the power structure dynamic, people freak out. They always do. In friendships, relationships, politically, anywhere there's any kind of dynamic shift.
Yeah.
That's when they lose it.
Yeah. And
that's actually the basis of Confucianism in so many ways. Exactly. Yeah.
That's why, I've lost friends when I, grew a backbone or whatever. It's just, it happens. It just happens.
Yeah.
I used to investigate ghosts with my friends. So yeah.
What?
I used to be Mormon. I get it.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
now I don't feel as bad about having been an avid ghost watcher, hunter person.
I used to read tarot cards. I still have.
That sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
Investigating ghosts sounds fun.
Well, but so that's exactly what it is. So, I knew it was bullshit. Then maybe I'm rewriting my own history, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't actually know it, and I'm telling myself now that I did because I'm embarrassed to admit how dumb I used to be. But to me, in my mind, in my memory, it was a way to get together with 3 or 4 of my friends at 2:00 in the morning and walk around scaring each other, smoking weed, and having a good time.
You drink some beers, you walk around a creepy graveyard. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that part of it sounds fun.
Sounds fun.
Legitimately enjoy it. I used to just love fucking watching ghost hunters, and I believed it. I was just like, oh my god, calling my husband, did you see this ghost on the it's and I look back on it and I think, oh Jesus fucking Christ, like I used to believe in psychics too. And
I believed in all that too. I was afraid that my soul was under attack.
Well, it
on
was
a daily basis.
So here's the fucked up one for me is that I did tarot readings, and I never read a book on how to do cold reading, but I sort of worked it out organically in a lot of ways, just by, hit and miss. You learn what works and what doesn't, and you learn it very quick. And people are super forgiving, and they want you to be right and everything. And eventually, knowing that I was bullshitting people, I started to convince myself that maybe the cards are so powerful that you can't really bullshit with them. Eventually, they'll take over. I had convinced myself at least because. Yeah. Like, I had people saying, you should charge for this. And I was just like, I should charge for this. And I think, ethically, my mind was trying to find a way to get around to, making that okay. I was like, maybe they do have powers. I'd just be giving people good advice, though, wouldn't I? And
I always wonder if that's the case with a lot of even psychics that you see, that I wonder constantly, do they believe their own bullshit? And even if they don't believe their own bullshit, all of the techniques they use, like the cold reading that you mentioned and hot reading and different things that they actually do, do they go to a school for con artists somewhere where they learn all those techniques? Or do you think they're, like you said, just kind of learning them along the way? Or have they researched other people and how they've been successful using those? I don't know. I always wonder if con people are...
Well,
I would love
deliberately
to go to
con people, or if they kind of fell into con work. I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing: is that people are insanely stupid. Okay, by and large,
it's true.
Present company excluded. People are fucking dumb.
Oh,
so
it's fine. I went to public school in Texas.
No,
there you go. Yeah. I went to public school in South Georgia. So
we're not. I don't think I'm smart.
Minnesota's an educational miracle, so I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, no, it is.
It really is.
Smart kids go. Or come from it anyway. They leave, but
they do. Yeah.
So the thing is, like I said, people are incredibly stupid. So when I would do tarot readings, the tarot readings I would do the most, there were a few friends that I had that would come back over and over again with every decision in their life and be like, can you give me a tarot reading? And it was really their way of asking me for advice. right?
Like a hairdresser.
You know, and of course, again, this is my brain trying to justify it ethically because it was a terribly unethical thing to do. Because yes, I think I gave them good advice, but I was giving them the impression that that advice was coming from the spiritual fucking realm, not from just me pulling it out of my ass, which is not an ethical thing to do. But you know,
which gives the advice more gravity and. They should take it seriously.
Instead of what you probably do now, you're like, I'm just pulling this out of my ass.
Right, exactly. Where you tell them, like, hey, I don't know jack shit about anything, but here's what it seems to me.
Take a look at me, but still take this advice.
Right. But yeah,
grain of salt.
But so here's the thing so that was, half or more of the tarot readings that I get. But the other half is when people would bring their friend who is skeptical, and when I put skeptical in air quotes, right? Because they were always very easy to convince, or generally very easy to convince.
Yeah.
So they would bring that person over, and then that person would be trying it out. And you'd be amazed how often they would tell you something, and then 5 minutes later be surprised that you knew it.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
People would tell me that they had like 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And later on, and I would say, and your 3 children. And they go like, oh my God, how did he know I had 3 kids? Right. Because they entirely forgot what they just fucking said. Yeah. It's amazing how often that kind of stuff would happen. So I have no doubt that there are plenty of people who are psychics who, really read up on how to con people and read up on, hot readings and cold reading and all of these other things. But it doesn't usually take that much effort. And generally speaking, I feel like these people do it in the least effortful way. So I think
that's a very good point.
But I also
you put on a show,
Well, Right, exactly. And look, here's the formula, and you learn this very early on. You tear them down. You start off like with some vague shit that like some, whatever the horoscopy, oh, that's true about everybody, but it's true about me, so I feel good about it. And then you tear them down a little bit in the middle, you build them back up at the end, and you tell them whatever the hell they want to hear by the end of it. And when you do that, and you do it with some florid language, and you point out some crazy coincidence, oh my God, what's the odds that symbol would be in all 3 of those cards, or, whatever. Right. And you fuck with people's inability to understand statistics and mathematics, that's they want to be fooled, so they're fooled.
Yeah, that's a very good. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I saw a psychic one time many, many years ago when I was in college, and it was something that my aunt paid for after my uncle had passed away, and she legit believed in psychics and was trying to talk to her husband, which is so depressing, but we each got to do our own little psychic readings. So I did one, my brother did one, my cousins did, and I remember at the time being so amazed at how accurate she was, and now looking back on it going, well, she I can actually see now, based on the things I said, why she replied the way she did,
right,
and how it convinced me. And but back then it was just like, oh my God, this is the real thing. Like she's got a connection to the other side. She can read the future. Oh my God. Like, it was, oh my God.
Well, and then that makes it so tough sometimes on us as the skeptical friend, right? Because we hear they tell us about the psychic, and they're like, well, how could the psychic possibly have known this? And I'm just like, look, if you had a recording of the conversation, I can tell you exactly how they knew that. But what really actually happened is you referred to your wife, and then you were surprised later when they knew you were married.
Yeah.
And you were
wearing a ring.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did go to public schools. Okay.
Yeah. But I graduated from my public school, so that means something, right?
Me too.
Braggy.
Yeah.
I know, a little bit. She gets a little braggy on this show.
I really do. It's because I'm Minnesotan and we have to be polite all the time, and
this is your time to let loose because you're on here with me.
Yes, partial Canadian. I know. I'm a native Michigander. We're partial Canadians as well, but we're not the polite type. But we're.
See, I don't know where
Ontario, but
I don't know where I got my I'm not polite in public or anywhere.
It's Southern. I assume that was a Southern thing. Right?
No,
I'm Utah Mormon. No,
see, that's weird. You should be way more polite.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm an anomaly. Like, I'm mean. I go out in public and I'm calling people assholes because they don't wear their mask right. And You know, I'm like threatening to fight people in the aisle of Walmart. It's
So you're
I don't know
doing things correctly.
I'm doing the Lord's work.
Okay,
is what
but
I'm doing.
Amy, yeah, I was going to say, here's the thing, though. There are people in this world, apparently like yourself and myself, that can be assholes to people and not feel bad about it later. Like other
Zero.
people,
I give zero fucks. Zero.
Exactly, and other people, they're tore up all day when they're mean to somebody. They feel like my wife, if she's mean to somebody, if she gets angry with somebody, she just feels awful about it all day. I don't. I'm an asshole for those people. That's heroes work.
I
okay?
really feel like
True.
I'm doing well. Okay, so my fiance he's this giant man. He can't go around calling people an asshole, or they will like square up to him.
Right.
But me, I'm this tiny under 5 foot lady. I can get in people's faces and yell at them. What are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
And,
I you know what? I'm super skinny and completely unintimidating, so I think I can do the same thing. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. You're like you can't like if I were like a giant wrestler, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I can do it.
So my favorite of all time is like when I'm in like a restaurant or I'm in like, you know, whatever, the Dwayne Reed or something like that, and somebody's being rude to an employee. Somebody who's there just like, you know, making $9 an hour or some ridiculous shit, just trying to get through the fucking day and being bitched at by somebody who's normally got no power and now is exercising. So I get to be an asshole to that person. That always feels so good. I just like, I live for those moments when somebody's being rude to their waitress or something right next to me or something. And I can be like, hey, you know what she would say right now if she didn't have to keep this fucking job?
Yeah, she has to be polite to you. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a customer. Customer's always right. Here's what I'm saying.
See, I'm the type of person that wants to be that person, but I can't because the Minnesota's bred into
The
me.
Minnesota is so deep.
Right. As soon as I think about saying something even remotely rude or mean to anybody in public, it's like there's this voice in me that's like, would Jesus do that, though? Even though I don't believe there is a Jesus or a God.
And Jesus would totally do that. He would throw
He would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He would flip the table.
He would flip the table.
I have to be nice because every stranger out there needs to know how polite I am. It's a mind fuck. Being Minnesotan is a mind fuck.
I just stopped caring what people thought about me probably about 13 or 14.
Yeah, see,
I just stopped caring. Like literally everybody around me doesn't matter except for my immediate family and my friends. And, you know, I care. But everybody else in the world, I give zero fucks about how they think about me.
Oh,
Don't care.
I'm jealous of that. I would love that because
I don't care.
If a perfect stranger thinks I'm stupid, that just really hurts. That's painful on a deep level.
Yeah,
I don't
understand
care
that
if they think I'm an asshole, but if they think I'm stupid, like if you do the stupid thing, like you get the real simple math problem wrong or something like that, I always just feel really bad about. But if they think I'm an asshole, I'm like, well, you bet you're an ass I am. I'm a professional asshole. Okay.
See, I want to be that person, but then if I'm out in public and an opportunity presents itself, like I'm literally standing by a person with no fucking mask on.
I'll step in front of you. I will say the words.
I will roll my eyes so hard at that person and I will think really mean things in my head. And I may even look at them long enough with a disapproving glance that they may catch me looking at them, at which point I'll turn away.
So one of my favorite
I'm
techniques.
thinking all of it in my head, so...
One of my favorite techniques is to get on the phone, right? Like call somebody or whatever, and just start talking about what an asshole the person's being in front of you or in the line or whatever.
That's fantastic.
You know, and, so like when I lived in New York City, I was constantly like on the phone with my wife or whatever. Because like you know everything's always going on constantly, so I was super super crazy busy at the time. So like in the brief moment where I could run and grab a drink or something, I had to give her a call, and then so like I would constantly be in that position where I was on the phone anyway, and somebody was being an asshole, and I could just be like, oh, you wouldn't believe what kind of asshole I'm standing behind in line. She's being such a bitch to this poor lady who's just trying to do her job at the cash register. It's like she laid that fucking Cadbury egg like it's her goddamn fault somehow. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Just to make the exchange and leave, ma'am. Don't be a bitch.
Right.
See, but I do it passive aggressively, like a good Minnesotan. I just wear things on my mask.
I have nothing passive about me. It's aggressive.
I've been walking around 2 days. I've gone everywhere with a mask that says it goes over your nose. Everywhere I've gone. My kid's doctor appointment. Not a single fucking person has commented on my mask. until today, I went to the Little Caesars drive-thru to get a healthy meal for my family, because that's kind of where I am. And I pull up to the window, and the little teenage cashier at Little Caesars is like, "Oh my God, I love your mask." And I was so delighted by that I gave her the second one I had in my car. And I'm like, "There you go. It's all yours. Take it home, wash it."
Wear it everywhere.
But like, how do I go to that? I went to the jewelry store. I had to stand in front of a jeweler for a while because I was getting my wedding ring. It was a whole thing. We bought sweatshirts. There was a cashier. Nobody, not a single person could tell me what a great mask
that
I had.
was your attitude.
I mean,
that's your attitude. I wouldn't comment on it either.
But it's
I might give you a
Minnesota,
thumbs
so
up,
nobody, I guess nobody would comment on it if they didn't like it because we're in Minnesota. So I have a friend who's
in Texas. They'd show you their gun. Yeah. They'd be like, "Look what I'm packing." I'm like, I don't care.
You can get that too. I have a friend whose favorite
Target,
hobby lately is just going into like Costco and different places and just berating people that don't have masks on.
See, I don't seek it out.
Oh, it's her fucking favorite new thing. And I told her when we reopen the thrift shop, she can come in. I can't pay her, but she'll be able to come in and just follow those fucking people around the store. And that can be her whole job. She can just yell at them and be that person. It's great.
I'm in this place where it's really fucking weird because I'm in rural South Georgia. Virtually nobody wears a mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same.
So
where I live.
when I go out, I'm in a mask and like 5 other people are, right? Like there's some elderly people and people of color are the only people I see wearing masks around here. And it's just like, I look around and I'm just like, I'm protecting all you assholes. You guys aren't protected. Why the fuck am I even wearing this thing? And I know I am wearing it, obviously, you know, because I care still. These people are assholes. I still don't want to accidentally kill them. Well,
right. You don't want to be responsible for their grandma's death,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I certainly don't want to kill their families.
Because it's not going to be them that dies, just like a drunk driver. It's going to be their family member or their loved one. Yeah.
But it is so frustrating. Like I've on multiple occasions, I've actually had that passive aggressive going that way with my mask, like people standing around going like, "Oh, he's wearing a mask. I guess he believes in that stupid blah blah blah. I guess he hasn't watched such and such video on YouTube. He doesn't even understand how science works."
The mind control device.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets so frustrating to me just how those of us that are actually taking COVID seriously are sacrificing a lot of our lives and our kids' lives and, doing the things correctly and staying home when we need to, when our fucking fellow community members just do whatever the fuck they want to do, and they don't have to sacrifice at all. So it's like we're not only doing the work, but we're not even...
They get it. They get theirs though, because I saw pictures of giant Christmas parties, and there are people still in the hospital today from those parties. I've seen the Facebook post of the pictures and the parties and the fallout, and now COVID. Well, so I'm watching the story unfold. Mm-hmm.
Well, and look, and that to tie this back into sort of the book is the fact that there is this institution that is there to reinforce the message that no, you don't have to change your life at all. It's going to be as easy as it can be, just like everything else that Christianity sells, as easy as can be. You just say you're sorry in your head. You tell yourself you're sorry, and everything is forgiven, even if you've wronged a real person in the real world. You're morally absolved of it by apologizing to yourself inside your own fucking head. In the same way, these religious people are telling them either that it's not really a problem or that the blood of Jesus protects them, Psalm whatever the hell it is that tells them that they're immune from plagues and night arrows. I can't remember. I can never remember which one it is. Or whether they tell them, as Kenneth Copeland did, touch my oily hand through the TV
so
screen,
gross.
or I'll spit your COVID away on my TV show or whatever. God. Again, they're just selling them whatever, they're selling them the you get to live on in paradise forever when you die message. It's the only thing they have to sell is that, hey, look, nobody's fact checking me. I'll tell you whatever the hell you want to hear. And what you want to hear right now is that, no, you don't have to sacrifice your holidays. No, you don't have to stay inside. No, you don't have to spend an entire year of your life. Yeah, exactly. Sacrificing all the things, not all the things, but many of the things that matter to you and the memories that you could be forming with your loved ones. You don't have to sacrifice your vacation plans or your holiday plans. And, and because we have gone so out of our way to carve out legal exemptions for these assholes, suddenly we've got the Supreme Court chiming in, as they did last week, to tell California that they don't even have the ability to shut down churches, no matter how bad a pandemic gets.
I know.
We've crafted intentionally a system where nonsense gets to stand outside of the law. Nonsense gets to stand outside of any objective measurement of fact, because we can't create an objective measurement of fact without excluding religion.
Yeah. And it just makes for an entire population that feels special and
they're entitled
entitled, and that's, oh God, I hate religion and I hate America.
I actually have another question for you. Since the pandemic, how has this changed how you're able to engage with your audience? Because I know you used to do like your live shows and everything. So
yeah, we had a couple of live shows that were on that we were already like, we were already talking to theaters about, and we were already looking for, when we do, we'll always do like a VIP night. And so we're looking at restaurants and stuff where we could get together. And we had to throw all of that away. We did.
That's a sacrifice. You weren't just going to go anyway.
Yeah, right. And so, and look, our audience would have been smart enough, not like, even if we tried, we don't have the kind of listeners that would come out in a pandemic to see us too. So, we actually, right before about this time last year, I actually guess exactly this time last year, we were in LA doing our first California show.
Oh, wow.
And that's the last time I've been out of the state. I had a friend come in. My sister actually came in March of last year, and then that was the last time I visited with anyone.
Yeah, that was March was basically the last month of normal.
Yeah, it was. It was
early March
first 2 weeks of March. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But because my sister came in to visit, and by the time I took her to the airport to go home, like the airport was empty,
Yeah.
It was,
because I think I was sent home from work on March 17th.
Yeah, it was right around then that I was, that we were like, that she was going back, because her birthday is on the 8th. So I brought her back, I brought her down for her birthday.
Okay. Yeah, so, my son's birthday is March 19th. So everything happened that week that he was
so he couldn't do
turning
anything.
16 and supposed to be taking his driver's license permit test.
That's brutal.
Oh, yeah. That's because for me, it's not a big deal. I miss my family over the holidays. And
Yeah, but do you really? Like, I'm kind of, I have an excuse.
So, hey, Biden won. I missed the shit out of him.
Well, I am really glad I had an excuse to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go to Christmas.
It could have been worse. But I thought about that constantly, that would be like the worst age, 16, 17, where it's just like.
Yeah, my son is a senior. This is his senior year. And it's really rough.
Well, I mean, to be fair, my son did not have any interest in driving more than I had in him driving and running errands for me. He's like a gamer geek kid, and he is perfectly happy to be at home and never go anywhere. But for me, it was just like, you need to be able to go buy groceries. And then we're going to have to put this off. Like, it's a year later now, and we still haven't been able to do it because he had to have, by the time they did start running the offices again, he had to have surgery, and then he was in a hospital deal. It was what a shitty year 2020 was.
It really has been.
But we asked some of our listeners in our very secret Soup Talk group what things they wanted us to ask you, basically.
Yeah, because we were like, we have him captive.
Because we were like, we don't know how to interview at all, because this is not at all. We are
Barbara Waltering the shit out of this.
Yeah, we're really, yeah. So one of the questions is from Del on Earth, who is just one of my favorite people.
Del, they're amazing.
Ask him, what do we do? Like, actionably, what do we do about COVID and about the COVID and Q conspiracy shit? Like, what can one individual person do to help combat it?
Yeah, wow, that's a tough question, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously...
Del had a Minnesota education, too.
Yes, Del lives nary an hour away from me on a cow farm.
Oh, so. Right on, yeah.
I'm just prefacing that with they are smarter.
Oh, they're 100% smarter.
I don't think that I have a cow named after me. I'm waiting for Noah Lugeons or something like that to show up. But,
that's fantastic.
I would be
brought that up.
Yeah, I would be flattered. I know Andrew got one. P. Andrew Taurus, which is pretty brilliant.
Oh my gosh,
so,
okay.
That's great.
Well, Del, I know you're listening.
every single cow convention, you should drop that nugget. Just be like, hey.
We've actually thought about having a Minnesota CowCon for all the Minnesota atheist fan, like Puzzle and a Thunderstorm contest people. We made a group, and Del was like, we should do like just CowCon. We were going to do CowCon 2020, just hang out at her farm with her cows, but COVID, that didn't work out.
Right.
So
no, all your plans go to hell.
It really does ruin everything.
Yeah. That's why I'm still just engaged, not married.
But sorry, but circling back to Del's question.
Yes. Do it.
Look, I think obviously all of us have different talents, different skills, different levels of engagement that we're able to make. So for some of us, it's just, if you can grab one damn person and make them your project, if you think you have any chance whatsoever in bringing them back to reality, then, good luck with that. And maybe that's the best thing for you to do, but the thing is that there are a lot of great organizations that for a lot of years have been fighting against exactly this kind of mindset. Right. So now some of those organizations, unfortunately, turned into a bunch of douchebags about 3 or 4 years ago. And so we don't have as many good allies as we once did. But there's a lot of groups that have been focused specifically on pushing back against vaccine conspiracy theories, pushing back against medical hogwash bullshit, people pushing back against, Bill Gates is trying to take over the universe. Here come the lizard people, conspiracies and everything. So it's not like we're going into this blind. It's not like we haven't fought this fight before. Right. So there's a lot of groups there that need everything. They need money, sure. Obviously, everybody always needs money if they're engaged in any kind of action in this country. That's the way you get there. That's just how our system's set up. But they also need, look, there's groups like the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia, right? This is a group of people that makes it their mission to go and find woo on Wikipedia and edit it, correct it, at least insert, disclaimers about how these claims have been disputed, et cetera, and keep Wikipedia as reality-based as possible. There are groups that need artists, to just help them design logos and shit. Like, there's something for everybody to do in our community, and our community has been engaged in this fight longer than anybody.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And if you can't do any of those things, if you are the type of person who's just an asshole, go and confront people who aren't wearing masks.
Be an asshole, yeah. That's hero's work.
Yeah, if you can
Seriously, I pick fights. I'm on Greg Abbott's page. I'm on Sid Miller's page. Like all of the Texas.
How are you not blocked on all of them yet?
I got blocked by the local judge that fought against the mask mandate. I get blocked by people all the time.
And look, a lot of people.
I fight.
Yeah, a lot of people downplay the importance of online activism. Online activism shouldn't be a complete substitute for in-person activism. In-person activism isn't really possible right now, or generally speaking, isn't possible. There are definitely.
I think they all have their roles.
Right.
Like everything has its place. Some people are only online. That's the only place to reach them.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Well, and look, there's there are legitimate concerns that you have to face when you're doing online activism. You have to ask yourself, like, hey, am I using this as a way of telling myself I've done enough when there's something more important that I could do in person? Am I using my time the best way possible, et cetera, et cetera? But yeah, like, something's definitely better than nothing. And as long as you're being realistic with yourself about the impact you're having and the impact you're not having, I think it's a great way to engage. Especially when you talk about stuff like, your senators and your Congress's
I'm on all
pages. I see a lot of my
that little earworm, in Ted Cruz's ear. That's me.
Well, right, and the
Senator
other people who aren't necessarily hard right wingers, but sort of live in Texas and are products of Texas public schools are still there. And they can, a lot of these people can be reasoned with. Most of the people in the atheist and skeptical community didn't start out as atheists, didn't start out as skeptics. They started off as something else and were convinced of this. We've been talking already between the three of us. We believed in ghosts and tarot cards and all kinds of psychics and bullshit and everything.
Joseph Smith.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, I believe in the guy.
I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, I win.
Right, so right. When it comes to bullshit, nobody beats the Mormons. Brigham Young had people living on the sun.
I don't want to win this one. I take it back. I don't want this prize.
So, but that's the point, though, that like, you know, every little bit of engagement helps. And we're in a community that's been honing our skills at this for a very long time. So we have more information than most on what can and can't be done. I think this is a unique opportunity that we have to recruit new people to our cause, right?
Yeah.
Because how often, if you've ever tried to sell the idea of skepticism to somebody that you know that's intelligent, you know, and that's not like a wooey person, that's not a super religious
spiritual,
person.
not religious.
Yeah, right. So a lot of times,
God.
you know, you get that, like, you know, you've got that what's the harm pushback, and nobody's going to ask you that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can very clearly point out the harm.
Yeah.
Nobody intelligent, yeah.
I always...
Well, I just tell people to read chapter 4 or 5, I think, of Street Epistemology.
Yeah, I
think it's chapter 4 where it lines out exactly how to lead conversations.
All right.
I always wonder if there's a lot of people who, especially now, will just kind of take the stand that like someone who believes in Q is just a lost cause, and there is no point in and talking with that person or wasting your energy.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I feel like I have very little faith in people to change in general, but every once in a while, it's like I feel like I will know a person who can have their mind changed. And I hear, you know, my friend Justin, we used to do a podcast, and he would say that all the time, that his mind was changed. So he never gives up on trying to change anybody's mind, because he came from this Seventh-day Adventist background, right wing, and, you know, he was able to change his mind. So, and he did that by listening to other people, you know, listening to Hitchens and reading different things. And so, you know, a lot of times I'll feel like, why? What is the point of talking to these horrible people?
But he changed his own mind. It wasn't
he did, but he had help too. He had other people pointing out to him things that he wouldn't have thought about.
I think people need to be ready when they're at a place where it affects them personally.
Well, I think that sometimes the most important thing you can do is let those people know you're the place to go when they are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know,
and I've actually had that happen. I left the church 6 or 7 years ago. And I recently, during COVID, had a friend reach out to me and say she's questioning the Mormon church.
Oh, that's awesome.
Huge.
Yeah.
We now share political memes all the time.
Yeah.
But it took her that long.
I have a couple of friends who are just more garden variety, recovering Catholics, things like that. We don't have crazy Mormons here. But yeah, they always end up coming to me and being like, wait, you're an atheist? And I think the more I say that I'm an atheist and the more I'm open about it, it gets a lot of people around me to feel more comfortable, I guess, with the term, and more comfortable thinking about, do they really believe everything their church says to them?
When I was a full-time student, I loved telling the Jehovah's Witnesses on campus that I was an atheist and watching their brains explode. Because I don't look in their mind. They were like, you don't look atheist. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Right.
I don't
It means
look
you're
atheist.
too adorable.
What
and
I
little.
told them, this lady told me to my face that I didn't look atheist. I'm like, I'm going to assume that means white. Or you look Christian. I was like, I'm going to assume you mean I look white.
Yep. That's exactly
and
what
then
she
I walked
meant.
away. I went to math class. I just left her with that.
Ugh, math sucks. So I have a question that
Yes.
I don't know what made me think of this today, but it made me laugh so much. And I want to know, you know, I'm sure you've 100 times told kind of your background story as far as religion, what you believed growing up or didn't believe in your case, you know, how you were raised. But I want to know, personality wise, like, were you super surly when you were a kid? Like, were you on the playground yelling at other kids to stop being jackasses? Or like, I have this funny picture in my mind of a little Noah yelling at the other kids for being dumb. I don't know.
Hands on your hips, being the slide guard.
Yes.
no, I wasn't like that with the other kids. I was like that with the teachers.
Me too.
Okay.
That was me too.
Yeah, I was the one that was just constantly questioning everything that they told me, and I would find loopholes in the rules that they would give me, and then I'd get in trouble anyway, and then I'd be really pissed off because technically speaking,
you got a report card that said needs improvement.
Yeah,
for his social skills.
Exactly. Yeah, my mom got called into a lot of meetings. Had a lot of meetings with the teachers and the administrators. So, but I wasn't that way with you. I was like a socially awkward kid. I sort of hid from the other kids. I got bullied a lot too, so so
you know, the people.
That's funny.
I feel like the people who got bullied in school though end up being the coolest people, and
I agree.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I wasn't bullied. I was popular in school.
You've
but
been
I
a
actually,
bitch. You've been a popular bitch your whole life.
Right.
So
we
I
get it.
actually in high school, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was in a keyboard class because I'm old, and the teacher said something to me in front of the other students, and I said, Can I speak to you out in the hallway? I actually said that to her. I took the teacher out in the hallway and told her that she doesn't need to disrespect me like that in front of my peers. If she needed something to say, she can speak to me privately. I'm still, to this day, I'm,
and you're alive.
I am, and I am very proud of that moment.
You were
in my
alive.
life.
I can't even. Yeah.
I was like 15 years old, and I'm like, can I speak to you out in the hallway?
Can I see your manager?
Okay,
that
so
privilege, Jamie.
I Karen'd the shit out of my keyboard teacher.
Yeah. All right, so
I was so proud.
I got to get braggy too. Now, when I was in high school,
Please.
I had the school's typing the words per minute record.
Awesome.
Nice.
See, you're old as shit too. I get it. I'm allowed to brag too. About that.
Hell
Yes, go
yeah!
for it.
I could out type my typing teacher. So.
Oh,
and
good.
I didn't type correctly. I didn't home row it or whatever. They
you did like the hunt and peck.
You henned or pecked and searched.
It was sort of. I had my own. Well, it's a weird thing. My left index finger doesn't work correctly. I chopped it most of the way off as a kid. They had to sew it back on.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Really?
Yeah, my left index finger has a giant scar on it.
Jesus Christ.
No shit. That's crazy.
You're being creepy now. Come on.
It barely bends. It it comes to a point of the tip because once the nerves are damaged, it never comes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. I have a weird little hook finger as well. It's yeah. And so I can't type normally. I play guitar upside down, all kind of weird shit because of that. And so it drove my typing teacher nuts because she kept saying like, no, you're supposed to, and of course, back then you didn't go you didn't point out, no, my finger's weird, so I can't do that. You just lied. But because I could type faster than her, and I could type faster than her because I was born and raised on a computer. I was typing on my parents had a TI 99-4A when I was like 5 years old. I had a QWERTY keyboard from the time I learned to spell.
How else are you supposed to find the porn?
No, it was a long damn time before there was going to be porn on those things. I grew up in the Commodore 64 days. We didn't have, this fancy internets and downloadable pornographies.
NES that had the guts had been ripped out of it by my dad's friend from work, and it was a de-scrambler. And he accidentally left it plugged in.
So you got the
I was
Cinemax
like in
right?
heaven.
Yeah.
It was the best thing ever. It was the best day ever.
We didn't even get fucking cable, Amy, because I'm in rural Minnesota. So
it was a de-scrambler. It de-scrambled the porn channels.
I had to watch MTV at friends' houses. Anyway,
I babysat for the rich people and watched Beavis and Butthead at their house.
Yeah, I had cousins that had the good channels, but that's why I always went to my friend's house and was never at home. Anyway,
these kids these days don't know how good they've got it. I will say that,
seriously,
because
imagine on their phones.
Imagine how shit. I feel like I'm a little older than y'all, but
I doubt it. Amy's real old.
I'm mid-40s. So
okay, I'm 44. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you guys.
Jesus
are the same
Christ, we are the same age.
Right on. So I've got Amy's fingers. I'm Amy's age. This is crazy. But the point is, can you imagine if this fucking pandemic had hit when we were 16?
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Christ.
We would be so isolated.
Yeah.
I had my groceries delivered to my front porch today, and I just brought them in the house.
Right.
It was totally fine. I can't imagine being so isolated.
I hang out with my best friends every week, like 4 or 5 times a week. I'm able to stay in touch with virtually everybody. I have an Oculus. I have the VR headset.
Oh yeah, we have one of those.
I bought one for my dad for Christmas, and my dad is 71 years old, and he loves it. He plays it every damn day. And we both have the same mini golf game, so we can play, like my dad and I can play golf together in VR from 1,000 miles away. So I'm not trying to downplay how bad this has been. Hundreds of thousands of people have died just in our country alone.
More.
But yeah,
absolutely would have sucked more.
It really is. It really highlights just exactly how, because there's a tendency, especially with people who are 44 years old and were sold on the Back to the Future vision of the future, where we're going to have hoverboards and jetpacks and flying cars and all that shit. By now, there's a tendency of us to look at it like, wow, science really didn't deliver. But it's that our science fiction wasn't very good, right? Like what actually has happened is way more of a phenomenal advance than anything that they could come up with for that movie.
Yeah, the connectivity is amazing. Like I have a Zoom hangout that I do with my friends every single night, just about. Yeah. Like we all get on Zoom. It starts at like 10 and we do it for like an hour or 4 hours, depending on how we're feeling. Everybody gets drunk, whatever, just hangs out.
Well, I think this is
all the time.
Something my son has actually pointed out to me. He talks a lot about virtual reality and how excited he is about the development of it and all the things it can do in the future. And, if you have a conversation with my parents about that, it's the opposite. Like, oh my God, nobody's ever going to get off the couch again. This is going to be the end of humanity. And I'm somewhere in the middle where I'm kind of like, technology's great, but my son just has nothing but excitement about, what about the people who feel isolated and can actually make connections and feel like they're in the room with that person?
What about a person who's got a facial deformity that makes it very difficult for them to have a conversation or a friendship that doesn't, like, at the very least,
where that's not
super awkward for them at the beginning? Exactly. There's so many. And look, every new technology... This happens, right? There was a time when people...
there's always a fear.
Yeah, exactly. When a new technology comes out, first we marvel at all of its possibilities, and then we fear it, and then we loathe it, right? And think it's beneath us. That's the process. And VR is the latest thing in that... Yeah. In that line. But come on, there was a time when everybody thought that novels were going to be the downfall of civilization because people wouldn't read the good stuff.
Women reading. Women in school.
Yeah,
listen, we taught women to read, and now look what's happening.
Well, that's really gotten
My
bad.
dad made that joke. My dad made that joke one time. He was like, "This is what happens when women get an education." It was.
He's not
wrong.
Know
if it wasn't 100% a joke either.
But I think we forget sometimes that, especially those of us with kids that are tweens or teenagers, they're growing up.
I have all teenagers at this point.
They're growing up in a completely different world than we did.
Yeah.
And the way that they have access to information is nothing like we've ever seen before. And
for all the parents out there, download TikTok. It embarrasses them.
Oh, yeah. And say the word cringe.
Talk about the ticks and the talks.
Say the word
and the
cringe a lot. They love that. But yeah, no, my son, who's got severe anxiety, he interacts with his friends every single day, and he's never met them in person. But these are his best friends.
Some people, I prefer that, actually.
I prefer that with most people. But yeah, technology is amazing, and I hope that... It seems like his generation is much less religious than our generation ever was.
To circle it back to your book, though, I think that technology is going to edge out religion. I mean, it's already on its way. But I think that that's what's going to win out.
Look, I mean, we've created heavens. We can't stay there long term. But we've created worlds, like these fantastical worlds that you had to use, you used to have to go to books for, that we can wander around. One of my favorite games for the Oculus is a game called In Death Unchained. And I won't go into the details of the game because who gives a shit. But the idea, it sends you through, the idea is that like hell is broken through to heaven, and you've got to go around and kill all the demons that have invaded heaven. But
okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sick ass.
I have to beat Zelda first, then I'll play
Breath of the Wild.
No, I'm trying to beat the original Zelda.
Oh, all right.
I went old school.
Yeah, the final dungeon of that'll take about 17 years if you don't get on this.
I joke that I'm doing hot girl stuff, and I told my fiance, I'm like, that always means Zelda.
But yeah, but the idea is that this game puts you in heaven, in like a sort of a classic Catholic idea of like you go through purgatory and you go into heaven and you go into hell and everything. And this idea that like, just an average person, well, I don't know about average, because like, when you look at global income, most people can't afford an Oculus, but
right.
But that somebody who isn't rich can like play Dante.
Yeah.
In the modern world, like how little do we need religion now? And it's just, technology has slowly chipped away at like, we don't need religion for when we're ill, when we're sick. Most of the sicknesses we don't have to pray to any fucking God for or anything like that. There's so many, even even immortality, the technology that we have, the fact that our social media can live on beyond us, the fact that our podcasts can echo after we're dead, right? The fact that our
art, our media,
and that everybody can play, right? Because like since 1920, right, you could be a movie star and your videos would live forever. But now, like, your YouTube videos could theoretically live forever. Now, not everything's going to live forever, obviously, but look, there's a lot of value in archiving this stuff and selling it back to people when they're grieving about somebody. Like, imagine what it'll be like to mourn when people can comb the internet and find great grandma's YouTube videos from when she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just watched that documentary on Netflix, about the Hotel Cecil.
I was kind of disappointed.
And they were talking about the entire social media history of the girl that died. Like everything, they dug up everything to find out who she was, to give a whole depth to her. And it was really interesting that was they were able to do that.
Yeah, people become so much more three-dimensional when you're able to see them.
They're not just a dead body.
Yeah, actually, they're four-dimensional, right? Because you can actually see them over time now as well. Yeah,
that's really true.
I don't do math.
I have one final. Yeah, she has a Minnesota education, but apparently
it doesn't include math. My kids can't do math either. It's generational.
Surprisingly, I'm actually really good at math. But I have one final question. I've made myself. I was determined. I'm also really stubborn.
Yes, very.
I suck at math.
What is your favorite conspiracy?
Oh, okay.
Because that's actually that's my pet project, my pet thing. I love conspiracies. I collect them.
I noticed that, when we ask questions in our Soup Talk group, you went and put one in yourself, but you're a host of the show.
I don't think you have to.
I didn't want to tell you that.
I was like, I'm going to suggest a question.
I'm going to put a suggestion
and I'm going to ask
here.
it.
So I think one of my favorites is are you familiar with Morgellons disease?
No.
I believe so.
Okay, so if I recall correctly, and it's been a while since I looked into this, so I may have the details wrong, and there might be new something on this or whatever. But what it is it's this idea that people have these scabs that were growing like hairs, like not hairs,
like the strings. And stuff.
Yeah, right. And what was very obviously happening is scar tissue was forming while they had clothing on, and it was catching, like, occasionally a hair would get caught in a scab as it scabbed
in like
over.
a lesion or something.
Right. Yeah. And so people were like convinced that they had this weird, they would post shit online about like, look at this weird fiber growing out of my skin. It must be something in the food that I'm eating. It must be that weird Subway bread or, whatever the fuck it is.
I remember that.
So, and then of course people, the doctors would come out and say, look, in every case that we've examined, it's turned out to be this. And then they're like, well, those are just the cases you've examined, because doctors won't say things absolutely.
People always do that, right?
Yeah. So
they won't, because science is constantly evolving, and changing,
right? And doctors are smart enough to know that, like, hey, man, there may be a case that's a completely different thing.
0.003% anomaly that might actually be something
right.
else.
And so people who are actually going to be honest with you hedge their bets, and people who are lying are absolute in their statements, and so the people who are lying very often win. And Morgellons disease is not a big deal. It's not something that like had a whole hell of a lot of life, but it's just so ridiculous and silly, and I love it so much for that, because the actual explanation is just no, you're stupid.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. Did you ever watch those psychic healers that were pretending like they were pulling things out of people?
Yes. So that to me is like the lowest form.
It's kind of like it's kind of on the same line as that, where they're pulling the stuff out of them. So if someone had Morgellons and they pull a ball of yarn out, they would be like,
that happens to me all the time. But I'm a cat.
Yeah, like a doctor, like the magic knot or whatever, where you keep pulling more and more paper out of your throat.
What is that? Gorgons or that's different.
The Gordian knot.
Gordian knot.
Yeah, no,
that's it.
Yeah,
I've had
totally
a lot of
kind of
sodal. Yeah, I've had a lot of sordal tonight.
Yeah, sounds like math to me.
Actually, the solution is much easier than a math problem in this instance.
It is. It's just
math is so tricky.
Hack it, the motherfucker.
So
with
if you. Because America sucks, and we're going on record saying that, you don't have to if you don't want to, but we are a firm anti-American podcast. If you could,
we also are anti-children. Surprisingly,
we're anti. Even though we have them, we're very anti.
I always say 10 out of 10. I do not recommend.
Yeah, no,
don't have kids.
Dell told me that was the first thing I ever said to them, and They're right. I did when I met them in person. Don't have kids.
Don't fucking have kids.
Anyway, if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you go? Like, what do you have a favorite country? Like, Finland is my favorite dream country, even though the weather's awful.
The weather's way too
You
awful,
already live in Minnesota. How
I know,
Yeah,
but
that's
they have
true. Yeah, I guess you
the
can handle
social
Finland,
programs.
probably,
I
yeah.
think it's a lateral move at this point.
Right, yeah, more or
social
less.
program. No, we're getting way more red. So
I, with the caveat that I haven't been to very many countries, like I never traveled outside of North America until I was, I think 40 years old was the first time I ever traveled outside of, I'd been to Canada and Mexico, and then I took a cruise where I, dropped off in a few Caribbean islands or something. So I don't know, and I'd love to find out, but of the places that I've been, I mean, given how well they did with the COVID thing, New Zealand looks awful nice.
Oh yeah.
That's mine too.
I know someone who lives there.
That's mine too because of mine is based on the Lord of the Rings series.
Okay, yeah.
It's strictly Lord of the Rings based because it was beautiful.
It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's just that it is absolutely that beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm basically a hobbit, so I would just live in one of those hills.
I would fit right in.
Fuck
It'd be
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, Gentleman Caller would have a real problem, but
Yeah. I know a person on Facebook who lives in New Zealand who's from this area, but whenever she posts things about
it's gorgeous.
how rational it is there, I just almost start crying.
I have a friend that lives in New Zealand.
religious.
She lived in Texas and she moved back to New Zealand because she was from New Zealand. And she's like, we can fly to Australia now. We don't need to wear masks anymore. I'm like, can you I'm going to mute you.
Okay, so here's the thing, though, about living in New Zealand or Australia, though, is that if you want to go anywhere that isn't New Zealand or Australia, you've got to be on a plane for 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and I don't like people. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a real problem.
You'd be trapped in the plane with them.
And I'd have to I don't like people at all. Like I had to I've flown to, Utah, I've flown to Australia or Arizona, I've flown to Tennessee, like various places, but I don't like people. So I try to
to not be around them. I get it.
So I did the Skepticon Australia is a phenomenal skeptical conference that they have there, and they flew me and my wife out, and Heath and Eli. It was awesome, right? Because when the hell am I ever else otherwise going to be able to go to Australia?
Right, that's amazing.
And so we had them fly us out like 2 weeks early, and we hung out in New Zealand for a little bit. I've got a good friend that lives in Australia. I'd never met him in person. I spent a week camping with him, and it was a ton of fun. We went out kind of borderline outback and slept under the stars. Great time. But
that's super fun.
I don't think I'd ever go back unless if they asked me to come back, I'd be like, I don't know, man. That was a long fucking flight. It's the greatest trip I've ever had in my life, but I don't know that I'd do it again. I'd have to get the rich ass lay flat, fall asleep, because I can't sleep on a plane, so I just didn't sleep for 30 hours.
You have to get the Patriot special, like storming the Capitol private jet special.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's the only way to do it. Just fly.
You just got to become a right-wing Republican and start like a talk show. That's all you have to do. You'll get anything you want.
You know how many times I have been so just thoroughly tempted to become Christian.
Yeah,
and just start
that's the thing is don't worry about becoming a Republican, become a Christian. Kenneth Copeland doesn't just own a fucking airplane. That motherfucker owns an airport.
Because seriously, Amy, we're cute. If we just dolled ourselves up a little bit, shut our mouths,
just put
we
that's
could
the part
make
I can't
so
do.
much money.
Just a little bit of lipstick on. If you could get the accent too, like if I just had a little less of an ethical compass.
I can't stop saying fuck though.
I could make so much money at just being a religious lady. Anyway, I
was for like 34 years, so I can't do that anymore.
Yuck. We've been doing this for about an hour, so we will wrap it up and let you have your evenings.
We are expecting a blizzard in Texas at this moment, so it's kind of exciting.
It was 76 degrees where I live in Georgia today.
It is 21 degrees right now, and we are expecting. My car is iced over. We ran to the liquor store and got a case of all fixins for the weekend.
Case of fixins. I've been wearing shorts for 2 days in a row in February. It's insanity.
No, it is. We are completely iced in, and it's crazy because usually this time of year it's not a blizzard.
Yeah, usually this time of year is Texas. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the news. Like yesterday, there was 100-car pileup in Fort Worth.
Yeah,
that's where I live. I live in Dallas, so it's like 100-car pileup.
Yeah, my brother lives
right
there too. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's
we're just stuck in our house today. We're just stuck.
Negative 15 here.
Luckily, the grocery delivery people aren't stuck in their houses.
Yeah. It's been like to below 20 all week. And
Yeah, it's insane.
My car.
I mean, it's down to 54
today.
here now, but it's 9:30 at night. So.
Usually that's me, and I send pictures of me in tank tops to Amy when she's bitching about the winter.
Oh, do you want me to send her a picture of me in a tank top?
I really think that's appropriate.
Please don't.
Because
No, because
not to you, not to you, to other Amy though.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can send it to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm old enough that I'm having hot flashes, so I'm cool, and I have enough alcohol that I'm cool. It's fine.
Oh my God.
I lie about my age on here and say I'm 27, but I'm not 27.
I literally warmed my car up for half an hour today before I left to go pick up a grocery order. And even after that, you could hear my car like sobbing. It just was like, going down the road. Like, it was.
My car does that. It does this thing, like it has an alarm that says, and it has like a snowflake on it. And it starts blinking at me because it's a Volkswagen. And apparently they're really fussy. Mm-hmm. And it's like screaming at me. It's like, bing, bing, bing. I'm like, yes, it's cold. I'm aware. We're both out here.
I live right next door to the White Walkers. Like it's
like screaming.
It's the worst here. So thank you for joining us. Tell everybody listening where they can find you and where they can find your book. Again, everybody listening to this knows because they all love you and they're fans. But please,
we all have it in our Amazon wish
just in case
already.
there's that one person out there. Let them know.
Yeah, so check us out. Just look for the book. It's Outbreak, Crisis of Faith, How Religion Ruined Our Global Pandemic. You can find it on Amazon. Unfortunately, that's pretty much it. But also, of course, you can find me on the Scathing Atheist, God Awful Movies, the Skepticrat, D&D minus, Citation Needed, and I may have another podcast project in the works.
Oh my God.
Nice.
So. Sheesh. Don't you ever?
Who is it with? No, you're not talking about yet?
Oh no, yeah. So like I can only give that tease, but I'm dropping all new news here though. That's like this is exclusive to your show. So.
We get the hot take.
Yeah,
we really do. We've broken up podcasts.
We usually get hot goss or we break people up.
Yeah,
okay,
we like to break up shows.
I'm glad that because you didn't tell me that in advance. I'm glad I got you some goss. Shit.
Yeah.
We don't tell people; they just drop it.
Right.
Yeah. We like the cringe goss. Is that how they say it?
Oh my gosh. They're sus goss.
Gosh, Jesus Christ.
Hashtag blessed. I don't know. My kids are embarrassed by me.
I never thought I'd get to that age where people, my own children, are looking at me like I looked at my mom when I was a teenager. Like, how out of touch are you?
So here's the fucked up thing: is that I really thought I'd give a shit too. You know?
Yeah, I don't care. I just keep doing it. I'm like, what? Am I cringe? Am I totes cringe?
It turned out that being old only sucked till the Gen Xers got there. So.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm not even a Gen Xer. I'm a millennial.
Braggy.
Yeah, I know. You're the worst.
I'm on the cusp. I'm a cusp. I'm that zennial.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I have to keep explaining to my son that I am not a boomer. I'm a fucking Gen Xer. There is a goddamn difference. And if you keep saying, okay, boomer.
You're fucking up your own ageism. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's like, that's boomer. He introduced me to the term boomer humor. I'm like, are you what? He's like, Mom, that's boomer humor. That
doesn't quite rhyme. That pisses me off.
I tell them, I'm like, oh yeah, I follow boomer humor on TikTok, and they're like, oh, it's worse.
Yeah. Whereas my son's like, TikTok is owned by the Chinese, and they exploit people, and you shouldn't be using
cool.
TikTok,
I'm down
Mom.
for that. I am in for being exploited.
My children are much more old than I am.
Yeah.
And
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, I just tell them I'm down with being exploited because I was Mormon for 34 years.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We will, let's see. I feel like there's things I should say at the end of the show, but I'm not a fucking professional. If you want to throw money at us, go to patreon.com/secularsoup. If you want to find us on all of the social medias, go to @secularsoup or Google us. It's not that hard.
Yeah, Google's real easy. You should know it by now.
Google works great. I have it all over my house now, turning on my lights and shit for me.
If you don't know how to find stuff, just
we don't want to hear it from you anyway. You're probably cringe. This is the Minnesota goodbye. Say goodbye, Amy.
I don't know what the Minnesota goodbye is.
The goodbye is where you just keep talking and you never ever.
Right,
Oh
yeah,
my
exactly.
God.
But we would be to the car by now. That's the Midwestern goodbye. We would be like,
okay.
we would be.
So,
We've already had the porch goodbye. Well, we had the door goodbye, or
Right.
like the
Door
getting
goodbye,
the coats
the porch goodbye.
the porch
Yep.
goodbye. We're now on the
the
car
fence
goodbye.
the car
Right,
goodbye.
The
yes.
one person
I would get in my car and drive away, though. I'd be like, goodbye.
You'd be a terrible Midwesterner. Oh my god.
No, you have to.
I'm not a
leave-
Midwestern. I don't even know. I'm not a Texan either, because Texans are, well, they're finger quote nice, but they're not actually nice.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I don't know where I fit in. I fit in. I'm just a bitch. That's it.
Yeah, no. It's the nice thing about negative.
I'm not
15,
nice anywhere I go.
Negative 15-degree weather is that we were able to curtail that. If you like, I stopped at my friend's house to pick
You're
up
like, okay,
something,
bye.
and I'm like, okay, I gotta go by.
Yeah, right.
So
I actually do the voice too. I do the affect and the voice when I go to people's
bye.
houses. I'm like, okay, bye.
Oh,
See you
you're such a
later.
bitch.
Because
Well,
then I'm pretending to be a bitch, but I'm actually just a bitch.
yeah, Dell and I did a good 20-30 minute Minnesota goodbye when we recorded the other show.
Yeah, no.
So we're not
So
going to do that.
They can find you on all your shows, all your
of the
social media.
Yep. No,
I just
illusions.
really pick a podcast. Odds are pretty good. I'm on it.
Yeah, he's
I
been
am-
on all
I
of them
am-
lately.
Halfway through the Trump movie GAM episode, and it's enraging. But because I listen to GAM religiously.
I just had to watch the goddamn My Pillow Guys movie. We recorded that episode today. I had so
God.
much fun recording the episode, but so little fun watching the damn movie.
So I'm a couple episodes behind because I listen to it while I work, and I work crazy 12-hour days. But I'm on the Hearts of Trump, and
Oh, that was a
God
rough
damn
one.
it.
Yeah.
that one's I'm very upset.
I love that guy so much, Donald James Parker. He's so much fun.
I think you're using the word wrong.
My Pillow Guy, My Pillow Guy from Minnesota.
Yes,
Thank
yeah,
you.
he's Minnesota
Yeah.
nice, isn't he?
Proud Minnesotan.
Yeah.
There really are dicks here, it turns out. All right,
Goodness.
thanks, Noah. Thanks, Amy.
It was Great having you
We
on.
will not have any bonus content this week because you know what? We're all fucking
I'm
tired.
cold and
some of
tired
us are
and I need to
drunk
go
and
drink
some of us
more.
are stoned, and it's a whole thing. So,
And we all had public education. So
and we
fuck
all
that.
had a public
I
education,
feel like
and we all
the
believed in
Midwestern
ghosts
goodbye is bonus content enough
at
for
once.
everybody.
I agree.
Totally, I 100% agree. All right, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
That's the noodles of brag.
Hey everyone, it's me again. I am here to read our wonderful patron names because we have the best fans in the world and they deserve some recognition. So we got a new patron this week, Austin. Thank you so much. Your pledge is $1.07 a month, which I find interesting because 7 cents is basically the tax here on $1. So you've included the Minnesota state tax in your pledge, and I appreciate that. So Cammie is still new. I just want to say hi to Cammie, and I think those are our two newest patrons. I could be wrong. Patreon, as I've mentioned, very difficult to understand and make sense of. So shout out to the new patrons, and then as always we have our Devil's Chili patrons, which are the $6.66 a month patrons. If you pledge at that level or above, you will get a shout out every single week on the show. And frankly, you'll become famous. Everybody will know your name because everybody listens to this show. So I highly recommend pledging at least $6.66 a month or more. If for no other reason than it makes me say $6.66 a month constantly, and it's very difficult for me. So anyway, we have got Yesh, Shmishdina, Paul, Nuggin, Natalie, Maddie, Lois, Life in the Left Lane podcast, Freethinker215, April, and I think that's all of them. Oh, and Andy, who I don't know what is up seriously with Patreon, but Andy has been marked in the $2 a month category for like 2 years now, even though he actually is a Devil's Chili patron at $6.66 a month. Get your shit together, Patreon. I'm tired of not knowing every single week to read Andy's name because he's not grouped with the other fucking Devil's Chili patrons. God damn it, get that fixed, Patreon. We've also got our $10 a month patrons. If you pledge at $10 a month or more, you will get a personalized bowl from me. It will take a while to get. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very busy, and depending on the time of year, sometimes I'm busier than others. And I hand make these. Like I do work. I paint them. I put little fun things on them. So, and I have a short attention span, and I'm very absent-minded, but you will get it eventually. I can promise you that. So I am currently working on Freethinker 215's bowl. I've got all the parts. I've got the bowl. I just need to actually sit down and do it. So you'll get it eventually, I promise. I also can't remember if I made Verlaine a bowl. I don't think I did. If I didn't do that, send me a message, Verlaine, because I genuinely don't remember if I sent you a bowl, because my life is so busy. But if I did not, I will make you one. So yeah, all the $10 a month patrons, we have got Wendy, Verlaine, Ricola, which, quit making me say that. It's terrible. It's going to go on your bowl now, for sure. So, we've also got Renee, Patreon customer service sucks donkey balls. Agreed. Hard agree on that one. And Elvin Engineer, and our, what is it, February? It was just Valentine's Day. I'm going to go with 14th favorite Rich. Currently our 14th favorite. We've also got our $20 a month blueberry dessert soup patrons. Those would be Randall, who became our first patron on our I Date Me Patreon. So if you have not listened to I Date Me yet, check that out. We think it's funnier than Secular Soup because we're not talking about anything serious. We're just making fun of people, and we're both really, really good at making fun of people, I think, as it turns out. So check out I Date Me, and thank you so much, Randall, for becoming our first patron over there. We also have Marissa became our second patron on I Date Me, so thank you so much, Marissa. It has not gone unnoticed. You are amazing. The rest of our $20 a month patrons, we have got Ashley, who's our very favorite patron and always will be. Kira Knightley is my favorite atheist. Weird name. People have weird names on Patreon. I don't think your parents gave you the name Kira Knightley as my favorite atheist, but maybe they were weird. I don't know. We've also got our top patron, as always, Just John, from now on, a stunning $42 a month. I say this every week, but I'm flabbergasted that anybody would give us that kind of money to talk into a microphone. So thank you so much, everybody who is a patron of the show. We appreciate all of you. Even if your name doesn't get read every week, we really and truly do see and appreciate all of you. If you would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/secularsoup. You will find that in the show notes and on our website, which is delightfulbitchcraft.com. And like I said, become a new patron, we'll give you a shout out, or $6.66 a month and higher, you will get a weekly shout out. So thank you for listening. Enjoy this outro, and stay tuned for the very end because there are some outtakes, because I've been doing outtakes every week. So yeah, and these outtakes are fun. You'll enjoy them.
Thanks to all of you motherfuckers who put up with the Amieys droning on week after week. If you enjoy their delightful bitchcraft, please follow them on all of the social medias and send them all of your money on Patreon or PayPal. You can find them on these platforms by using the Google machine. It's not hard. If you want to bitch with other fans about the show, join the Secret Soup Talk Facebook group. If you want to tell Amy and Amy to fuck off personally, you can send an email to secularsouppodcast@gmail.com, although it may go unanswered. Please rate and review the show on iTunes, Facebook, and wherever else you can review things like this. It will help spread the soup gospel far and wide. And hey, text someone right now. Tell your friends. As always, we'll leave you with the vocal stylings of Mr. Eli Bosnick.
Secular soup creed. Soup is the ultimate virtue. It's delicious, nutritious, patriarchy smashing, racism fighting, warm and fuzzy, human affirming, fun having, anti-theist, glitter throwing, tummy satisfying, pair of new shoes fulfilling, diversity seeking, happiness. Minestrone, beef and barley, chicken broth and split pea, gazpacho, tomato, clam chowder and potato, chicken noodle, beef noodle, egg drop and ramen cup, miso, gumbo, leek and pho. Grab a bowl and taste the magic. slurp even this.
I'm going to start recording in chaos just so I don't forget to do it in a few minutes if I'm even more stoned than I am now. Amy, so... God, see, this is why I shouldn't get stoned in podcast. I'm the one that's going to have to edit this out later, so don't worry.
So the thing, sorry, because I'm a little bit inebriated tonight as well.
Working on it.
Now I'm like, what were we? Our con artists, do they make themselves? So we will wrap it up and let you have your evening, especially because, like I mentioned before, I'm fucking stoned and I don't know I can't even focus. I'm not a fucking boomer.